Hello, 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 my dear friends. How have you all been? All good? All good? Can you all hear me, guys? Can you all hear me, guys? Tell me, tell me, tell me. We are here to do our IGST session. Let me just check. How is it coming? Let me just check. How is it coming? It's good. It's good, guys. The voice is great and I'm happy. Okay. So, friends, today we are basically going ahead and doing a very important topic because there are a lot of times when IGST is asked, it's directly asked for like 10, 10, 10, 10. Sorry, this one, yeah, 10 whole marks, right? So, question is only dedicated a lot of times to IGST. Also, the fact, my dear friends, that IGST is something which is very important because a lot of times in a big question they would ask, uh, how to determine tax liability. Now, the tax liability will be in IGST or C or S. To determine that, you should definitely know what is the place of supply, my dear friends. If you don't know what the place of supply is, clearly, my dear friends, in that case, you won't be able to determine C or S or I, right? So that is one thing. Also, sometimes ICI, what does it do is it does not ask a separate question, it makes it a part of the whole question. It makes it a part of the full question. And what happens is that in that case, you have to answer. So please don't ever think that you will, uh, be done away with this. And I will say why. Like it's one of the easiest chapters, and we will easily wrap it up like in an hour or so. Okay, so quickly, my dear friends, we will take you through. First is section 8, first is section 7, then is section 8, then we have section 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, right, and 15. Right, these are the major sections of IGST where we are basically covering the place of supply part. Okay, so for I would say without wasting any time, let's hit it. Let's hit it, guys. Okay, section 7, section 8, section 7 interstate supply, section 8 of IGST Act defines the intra-state supply. When we talk about, my dear friend, section 7, it talks about um, very simple aspect that to determine the nature of supply. What do you mean by nature of supply? That a particular supply is intra or inter, intra or inter. All you have to do is, my dear friends, very, very, very simple. Okay, determine two things: location of supplier and then place of supply. Location of supplier and then place of supply. If you determine that, my dear friends, okay, then your life is sorted. You'll be able to figure out whether it's inter or intra. How will you figure out? Very simple. If it is between two different states, two different union territories, one state, one union territory, then definitely in that case, my dear friends, the nature of supply is interstate. Okay. What are other cases where the supply is still an interstate supply? Very simple. Especially when we talk about, my dear friends, goods. Not service beta, I'm talking about goods. So if goods are imported from a place outside India to in India, and it crosses the custom frontiers of India, my dear friends. Yes, it crosses the custom frontiers, right? Where you have filed the bill of entry for home consumption and paid the duty, then definitely, my dear friends, in that case, it is importation of goods, and importation of goods is subject to BCD and IGST. BCD and IGST. This we've learned in the very first lecture of introduction, where I taught you Article 269A. Article 269A. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, perfect. So that is definitely there, my dear friends. Um, Second, third. Fourth is, my dear friends, very simple with respect to inclusions. Okay, there are now three types of inclusions. Understand? One is location of supplier is in India and place of supply outside India. So something very similar to exports. It's not exports exactly, but it can be exports because to become exports you need four conditions: LOS in India, POS outside India, LOR location of receipt but outside India, and amount should be in foreign currency, right? So if it also follows the other two conditions, then it is actually an export of service actually. And if it doesn't, then it's simply interstate supply. Okay, and there IGST shall be levied. Okay. Second is, my dear friends, okay, we're done with this. Second is supply of goods or service to or from SEZ. To or from SEZ. Understand? SEZ is basically considered a part outside India, which is why government said that listen, even this transaction will be considered as inter, because any which was import and export is inter. So this is also something similar to that, and which is why it will be considered as interstate supply and lag jayega IGST. Okay. Now, third is, my dear friends, supply is in taxable territory and okay is not an intrastate supply and not covered elsewhere in section 7. Okay, supply is in taxable territory and is not an intrastate supply and is not covered elsewhere in section 7. So basically what I'm trying to say is that understand this, the supply is in taxable territory, yes, but it is not intra and it is not even covered elsewhere. Okay, so can you see these issues? 1, 2, 3 and 4, maybe it is not covered here and here. Okay, it's not covered elsewhere in section 7. Okay, then in such case, okay, it will be covered under this residual case. Okay, and this residual case will, okay, name it interstate supply. Classic example of this is when, okay, there is a supplier in India supplying goods or service. Sorry, my bad. Only goods, my bad, only goods to a tourist. Got it? To a tourist. That's a classic example when IGST will be charged, because such example, okay, understand, is not considered as intrastate supply even though they occur within the same state. Doesn't matter. It is expressly, okay, excluded from the definition of intrastate supply, section 8. Okay, so yeah, something like this can be covered in the residual case. Next, my dear friends, section 8. Section 8 is, my dear friends, intrastate supply. Intrastate supply. Location of supplier, place of supply within the same state or same union territory. Same state or same union territory. Definitely, my dear friends, it's a classic case of intrastate supply. Intrastate supply. Perfect. So that is one part. Second is, my dear friends, very simple. Okay. These are the three aspects which are excluded from the definition of intrastate supply. And what is that? Supply of goods or service to or from SEZ, right? Supply of goods or service to or from SEZ, right? Next is, so it is not an intrastate supply, which is why it is an interstate supply. Second is import of goods till it crosses the custom frontiers of India. And the last is definitely goods supplied to tourists under section 15. Correct? These are expressly excluded from intra, and which is why I understand there is no intrastate supply here. Okay, and which is why, okay, most of the cases are interstate supply. Okay, perfect. Also understand there is a specific explanation, okay, explanation to section 8. Okay, and what does that talk about? Very simple. It says that understand, if, okay, if you have if you are running a company, then one of your establishment is in India and the other establishment is outside India. One establishment is in India and the other establishment is outside India. In that case, understand they will be considered as distinct persons. And this is something that I really wanted to share with. Okay, establishment का मतलब branch होता है. Remember that. Okay, always remember that the whenever this word establishment is used, it's called branch. Okay, basically person having the same pan but in a different geographical location. Okay, perfect. Okay. Then next is, my dear friends, section 9. Okay, a lot of times this is a very misunderstood section, so let me just take care of it. Okay, so understand, my dear friends, what has happened is that especially, my dear friends, okay, it is said location of supplier and place of supply if it is up to 12 nautical miles. Okay, okay, up to 12 nautical miles. Okay, understand, in that case, okay, that is, for example, if this is India and this is 12 nautical miles, ओके, तो इसमें LOS हो या फिर POS हो, डजेंट मैटर. ओके, understand government says that it will be deemed considered that whatever LOS or POS is there, it is not located here, but it is, let's say, to the nearest state or union territory. For example, understand if there is any supplier who's giving service, let's say, for example, uh, let's say I generally give an example of Haji Ali Dargah, right? Let's say it's going to get renovated, right? So an architect who's understand whose location of supplier is in Mumbai, because his office is in Mumbai. He goes all the way to Haji Ali, which is actually within the 12 nautical miles, which is in the Arabian Sea, right? And he performs renovation service, repairs and maintenance service there. Now, understand in that case, it will fall under 12.3, which talks about location of a mall property. Where is the mall property? On TWI. Right? What is TWI? No, they have not defined it. With the help of my dear friends, section 9, we can clearly say that in that case, it will be to the nearest state or union territory. And the nearest state, my dear friends, is Maharashtra, and which is why the place of supply will be Maharashtra. Place of supply Maharashtra, location of supply already the offices in Maharashtra, intra-state supply, CGST, SGST, CGST, SGST. Okay, what about beyond 12 nautical miles? What is that? Because understand, India is still up to 200 nautical miles. So what beyond 12 nautical miles? Government says that it is separately carved as a union territory, right? So you have Chandigarh, Lakshadweep, Andaman, Diu Daman, and Dadra Nagar Haveli, Ladakh, and what am I missing? Am I missing anything? No. Okay. So understand, this is the sixth one, that is called the separate union territory, named as other territory. Okay. So what happens is, let's say this is beyond 12 nautical miles. Let's say the place of supply happens to be here, correct? And the location of supplier happens to be in Maharashtra. To understand, your LOS will be what? Maharashtra. And your POS will be what? Other union territory. In that case, nature of supply will be inter. Why inter? Because it will be considered that the transaction is between one state and one union territory. One state and one union territory. Just a second, my dear friends. Correct. Okay. I can actually cover this in my FMM series that I've recently started. Frequently made mistakes, both for Inter C and Final C. There's a separate playlist for shorts that I have made, which will just make you aware about the mistakes that generally students do, okay, which you shouldn't be doing. Is that very clear, my dear friends? Yes, please make sure that you go through them so that, yeah, it's really helpful to you guys. Okay, perfect. Okay. Nice. Okay, next. Next, my dear friends, let's directly now head to place of supply. Okay, so place of supply. Okay, obviously in GST, my dear friends, first we will deal with G and then we will deal with S. So G is 10 and 11, and S is, my dear friends, uh, yeah, 12 and 13. So 10 and 11 is goods and 12 and 13 is service. Okay, perfect. Section 10, okay, is only related to domestic supply. Section 11, understand, relates to import and export of goods. Okay, perfect. Now, when it comes to section 10, my dear friends, okay, I just need to tell you one thing. When there is movement of goods, the place of supply actually happens to be that place where the movement terminates. Okay. So, for example, if the transaction is from Mumbai to Delhi, okay, the place of supply is Delhi because the recipient is in Delhi. Okay. Now, understand why was it Delhi, and I'll tell you the reason why. Because understand, government has ensured, you know what, that in most of the cases, especially where government feels that a lot of B2B supplies can happen, right? Government has ensured that, okay, when the transaction happens between supplier and recipient, it's always at the recipient's state. Okay, government has taken out as the place of supply. So okay, whatever is the state of the recipient, where the recipient is actually registered, okay, where the recipient is actually registered, in that case, understand one thing very, very, very clearly, that the place of supply, yes, that the place of supply will also, my dear friends, will be recipient's place. Why? Because it's extremely important to understand that it's a recipient from whose pocket input tax is going. Okay, it is the recipient from whose pocket the input tax is going. So it's very important that finally recipient pays to supplier, supplier pays to government, government then splits it between central government and that state government where the recipient actually is registered, because GST is a destination based tax. And when that happens, recipients get ITC. Right? So government is ensured that whenever there is movement of goods, okay, okay, I hope you understand my difference. It is the recipients, okay, state, my dear friends, where the place of supply will be considered, and which is why it says that place where the movement of goods terminates, not originates, terminates. Yes, we focus on terminates, okay, and not originates. ठीक है? That's it, my dear friends. Okay. Next, my dear friends, क्या है? बताओ. Next क्या है? So that is definitely there. That is with respect to 10(1)(a). Okay. Next is, my dear friends, with respect to 10(1)(b). Okay. So when I say, my dear friends, 10(1)(b), it talks about no movement of goods. In case of no movement of goods, please try and understand. Okay. Government generally feels that no movement of goods arises when there is B2C supplies. That's what government thinks, and which is why it is said that place where the goods are delivered, right? So, for example, over the counter supplies, let's say you've gone to DMart and you know, the DMart supplies you. The supply has happened in the DMart ka store itself, and which is why that will be the location of supply, and that exactly, my dear friends, will be the place of supply. Okay. Third is build to ship to model, my dear friends. Understand very clearly. Understand very clearly. For example, Mr. A has asked Mr. B. Okay. Mr. A has asked Mr. B. Okay. To deliver goods to Mr. C. To deliver goods to Mr. C. Okay. Do you realize that, my dear friends? Yes, sir. What does that mean, my dear friends? Very, very, very simple. Okay. In this case, Mr. B bills to Mr. A. Mr. B bills to Mr. A, but Mr. B ships to Mr. C. So billing to A, shipping to C. Billing to A, shipping to C. Billing to A, shipping to C. Now understand, if Mr. B is billing to A, okay, obviously he is paying the GST. So he would want the ITC. Okay. So here, understand, this guy is in Mumbai. Correct? This guy is in Ahmedabad and this guy is in Surat. Okay? Now understand, my dear friends, it's very important for you to understand that in this case, okay, though the movement of goods is happening from Ahmedabad to Surat, from Ahmedabad to Surat, we cannot use 10(1)(a) here because it is not a build to ship to model. And if we land up doing, we actually land up taking the conclusion of 10(1)(a) in 10(1)(c), there will be a big mess, and I'll tell you why. Right? If we do that, understand, Mr. B has to bill whom? Mr. A, correct? I'll just space it out a little bit. Okay. I'll just place it out a little bit. Now understand, Mr. B is going to bill to A, correct? And Mr. B is going to ship to C. Now, what is LOS of B? What is LOS of B? Ahmedabad. What is POS of What is POS of B? Right? If we take Surat, where the movement of goods is terminating, what will happen is that I will actually land up charging CGST and Gujarat SGST to Mr. A. Now A is registered in Mumbai, that is Maharashtra. Now understand, if B charges CGST and SGST, that is also Gujarat SGST, A will not get the ITC of the same. Why? Because what you are charging is not CGST and Maharashtra SGST, CGST and Gujarat SGST. So the entire amount that is collected from the recipient to the supplier will go directly to CGST and Gujarat state government, whereas the recipient is registered in Maharashtra state government. How can possibly a registered person of Maharashtra government get ITC here? Because your state government has not received the money. It is the Gujarat government that has got the money. Are you getting it? Yes. Right. And to avoid this problem, government said that in that case, okay, in case of bill to ship to model, okay, the place of supply here will not that be of C, will that be of A. And A is in Maharashtra. So here, which is why the nature of supply will be interstate, right? And IGST will be levied. Is that very clear, my dear friends? I hope this is very, very, very clear. Very, very, very clear. Bolo, very, very, very clear. Are you getting it, my dear friends? Yes. So always remember, what is the place of supply we are taking? We are taking the place of supply as the principal place of business of third person. Why do we call it as a third person? Because according to government, Mr. B, from where the movement initiated, that person is actually the seller. C is the buyer because their goods are being delivered. And A, government says, is the third person, the kebab mein haddi type person. Are you getting it? Yes. He is the third person, my dear friends. Okay. So it is always the principal place of business of third person. Jiska we will take the place of supply. Make sure that you are very, very, very clear with respect to 10, 1, C. Wait, 10, 1, C. Yes, my son, 10, 1, C. Okay. Next is with respect to installation or assembling. In that case, understand, when I talk about place of supply, it is that place where the goods are being assembled or installed, where the goods are being assembled or installed. Very simple. Okay. Next is goods on board a conveyance. So, for example, if I'm taking a aircraft, I'm taking a flight from Mumbai to Delhi, right? So obviously, all the food articles must have got onboarded on the Mumbai stop, right? So here in this case, understand, if I'm purchasing any goods that is during the conveyance, तो मुंबई से दिल्ली के बीच में, okay, in between of that, if I have purchased any goods, there are goods like, for example, any power charger or any packaged food articles, headphones, anything of that sort. If you have purchased, right, goods on board a conveyance, then in that case, the place of supply, that place where the goods are taken on board. So obviously, if the flight was from Mumbai to Delhi, the goods are taken on board in Mumbai. Place of supply will be Mumbai. Or for example, it's something like, okay, Mumbai, Delhi, Ahmedabad. And you have taken the flight on Delhi. And you have, okay, taken the goods or purchased the goods in Delhi to Ahmedabad wala lap. Okay. So in this leg of flight, okay, you have purchased from the airline. So the airline has actually sold you a charger. Now understand, what will be the place of supply here? Will it be Delhi or will it be Ahmedabad? It will be none of them. It will be that place where these goods are actually taken on board. And that is, my dear friends, Mumbai. Are you getting it? Yes, it is Mumbai, my dear friends, because that is the place where the goods are taken on board. Sir, how did you get to know this? Okay, this is a given information. Because genuinely, if I tell you that if the same goods were onboarded, okay, in a Mumbai, Delhi, Ahmedabad flight, it was boarded on Delhi. So you will take the place of supply as Delhi. If I say Mumbai, then you will take the place of supply as Mumbai. So whatever place where goods are taken on board, that will be the place of supply, right? So watch the question very carefully and you will get the answer. It's extremely very easy. Okay, perfect. 10-1A, 10-1A, 10-1B, 10-1C, 10-1D, 10-1E. Okay, done. Next is, especially in case of, my dear friends, import and export of goods. So import of goods means what? Beta avan. Avan yani coming. Goods are coming to India, right? Then government said, who is importing it? Importer. Location of importer is the place of supply. Okay, so wherever the importer is actually registered, in whichever state he is registered, consider that the place of supply is that state. Okay, so he is registered in Delhi. He is registered in MP. He is registered in Maharashtra. Okay, okay. So it's absolutely does not matter that he stays in MP, but his goods have arrived on the Mumbai port. No, goods arriving on Mumbai port, Chennai port, Kolkata port doesn't matter. What is the place of supply? Place of importer. Place of importer. So that state will be the place of supply. Very simple. Export of goods. So goods are coming or going? Going. Avan ya javan? Javan. That means my difference in this case, the place of supply will be location outside India. Kya beta? Location outside India. So if let's say I plan to send a consignment of what is this, my dear friends? This is Balam Pichkari, my favorite equipment while I am also studying, my dear friends. And I would also recommend you to, my dear friends, purchase it. It is an amazing thing. Trust me, this is something that you generally see at a barber's premises. But trust me, remember the fact when he actually sprays it, sprays it across your face, you know, there is this gush of water that comes to your face and you all of a sudden feels freshen up and you don't sleep while he's cutting your hair. That's the objective, apart from cleaning the face. And which is why I would really ask all my final CA students, how much ever silly it might feel, even if you are taking it in library, doesn't matter. Whatever helps you is definitely justified. So you take this in your library or you use it at your home wherever you are studying. And trust me, my dear friends, it works wonders. It will keep you stay awake. ये आपको जगाए रखेगा, ये आपको बनाए रखेगा. Is that very clear, my dear friends? Yes. Okay. Shiva, I just explained. Did you not understand? I just explained in detail. If possible, just go through it again because you'll be able to understand it much better. Trust me. और थोड़ा स्लो में देखना. ठीक है, I just explained it in very detail. Did you join late, Shiva? Okay. Next is, my dear friends, section 12. Section 12, my dear friends, talks about LOS and LOR in India. Okay. To understand the difference between section 12 and 13 is, in 12, location of supplier and location of recipient is in India. Okay. And in section 13, okay, either of them is only in India. So either the supplier or the recipient is in India. Okay. But in 12, both of them are in India. So in 12, both of them are in India. And in 13, at least one. So both of them can also be there. Doesn't matter. At least one, okay, should be in India. Okay, in 12 and in 13, both. Okay, either of them should be outside India. So you decide. Okay, fair enough. Now comes, okay, section 12 to 12:30. Okay, 12 to 12:30. Now, what I'm trying to say, my dear friends, is when I speak to section 12 subsection 2, what I'm trying to figure out, very simple. Understand, okay, that section 12 is a general provision. So basically, all those services, okay, which are not falling from 12:3 to 12:14, okay, all the service other than the one mentioned from 12.3 to 12.14 will be covered in 12.2. A lot of examples that I generally give is professional services like CAS, CS, IIT, IIM, engineer, architect, whatever, right? Then there is a consultancy service like IT consultancy services, right? Like there is photography service, right? Then there is security service. There are lots of services, frankly. Okay, advertisement to, for example, private company service. So all of these services are covered under general provision. Okay, which are not covered under 12.3, say like a 12.14. So make sure that is very clear. Okay, so make sure that is very, very, very clear. Okay. Now the objective of this is, my dear friends, very simple, and that is when it comes to 12 subsection. Okay, just a second. Yeah. 12 subsection 2, government said that listen, if recipient is in B2B supplies, in B2B supplies, is always going to be location of recipient, right? And the logic that I just said, my dear friends, is that government understands that in 12.2, there will be a lot of services where supplier will give to the recipient, where the recipient will be a registered recipient and he would really want ITC on that. And to avail ITC, it's very important, my dear friends, that that okay, the place of supply happens to be the place where the location of the recipient resides. Because only when that happens, the tax, the input tax that is paid from recipient's pocket to supplier and then to government finally goes to recipient's government, because it's destination based tax. Okay, so which is why it's very important that whatever is the place of supply, okay, especially in case of B2B supplies where the recipient needs ITC, the recipient's location will be the place of supply. The recipient's location will be the place of supply. The recipient's location will be the place of supply. Why will we do that? Because if the place of supply is location of recipient, the crime has happened in the location of recipient. If the crime has happened at the location of recipient, the tax regarding that crime will also go to that state where the crime has happened. So if I'm okay supplying goods from Delhi to, for example, okay, UP, and the place of supply is UP, understand, okay, that the place of crime is UP, and in that case, understand the tax that will be paid will also be to UP. Is that very clear, my dear friends? Yes, 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 yes. So that is definitely with respect to B2B. But when I say with respect to B2C, what will happen? It clearly depends. It clearly depends whether, okay, you know the recipient's location or you do not know. If you know recipient's location, okay, if you know recipient's location, then the concept is very simple, my dear friends. In that case, it is location of recipient. If you don't know the location of recipient, in that case, you have no chance but to choose location of supplier. Is that very clear, my dear friends? Yes. Next, my dear friends, okay, I will not take 12.2. Okay, I will not take I will not take 12.3. I will not take 12.4. I will take 12.5 directly. Okay. So understand, my dear friends, why did I take 12.5? Again, because here they have given a bifurcation of both B2B and B2C. Okay, both B2B and B2C. So again, okay, understand which service are we talking about? Train and performance appraisal service. So understand a lot of expense is actually done to train these employees, and these services are clearly taken in the course of furtherance of business, and which is why recipient will take ITC of the big bills that these trainers send to these corporate houses, and which is why it's very simple that whenever the recipient, okay, is basically a client that deals into B2B supplies, again the concept is very simple. Okay, the place of supply will be location of recipient. The place of supply will be location of recipient. Okay, But when it comes to B2C, my dear friends, understand it is that place which is basically where the training is held. Okay. So all I would like to tell you, my dear friends, is that whenever it is B2B, make sure that you understand that the place of supply will be location of recipient, because we want to give ITC to the recipient because it's a big expense and thereby a big input tax जिसका ITC हमको recipient को देना है, right? And if you really want the ITC to be given to the recipient, the place of supply has to be location of recipient, right? Correct. Second point, B2C supply, understand that if such supply is given to an unregistered person, what do you think should be ideally the place of supply? Wherever the training is held. What a simple logic, right? So you are taking accounts training, you are taking any physical training, you are doing any, mental training, whatever the case may be, it will be that place where the training is actually held. So it can happen that the supplier is actually from Mumbai, the recipient is in Delhi, but the training is held in Noida, in UP, in Bihar, whatever the case may be, wherever the training center is built. Okay. Yes. Next, my dear friends, I won't even take 12.6. I will directly go to 12.7, which talks about, my dear friends. Tell me what? Yes, event management service, event organizing service, which basically talks about, my dear friends, okay, that even this is a big expense. Okay. So again, if there is B2B, location of recipient will be the place of supply. If it is B2C, then understand, my dear friends, where the event is actually held. That, my dear friends, that will be the place of supply. Okay, correct. Did you get it, my dear friends? Yes. And yes, in case there is an exception, that if the event is okay held outside India, especially if it is a B2C supply, from outside India where the event is actually held, we have taken all the way the place of supply to location of recipient, right? So generally in B2C cases, what is the place of supply? That place where the event is held. But in this case, since the event is held outside India, we will make sure that it is brought again back to India, and the place of supply has to be the location of recipient. Aja. 12.8 क्या है? 12.8 is, my dear friends, transportation of goods. In case of transportation of goods, my dear friends, understand one thing very, very, very clear. Okay, that this is also a big time B2B supplies. In this case, obviously B2B, location of recipient. But my dear friends, when I talk about B2C, okay, then it is that place where the goods are handed over to the transporter. Let's say, for example, I am okay. Understand? I am HUL and you are DMart. I am HUL and DMart, and I'm actually calling the GTA. Right? I'm actually calling the GTA, that GTA, please come collect it from Mumbai and send it to DMart Chennai. Okay. The transporter comes to me, to my factory, loads my goods. So where is that? In Mumbai only. Right. So whenever I handed over him the goods, in Mumbai only. The location of supplier, so you check the GTS address. Let's say if it is Mumbai, Mumbai. Place of supply, again Mumbai. Because the goods are handed over in Mumbai. Then in that case, IGST is GST. Got it? Yes. Next is proviso to 12.8. If goods are transported outside India, okay, the destination of goods, the clarification here is that it is interstate supply. But understand, okay, with respect to ITC, recipient, even if place of supply is outside India, okay, uh, so here it's very important to understand, my dear friends, okay, that what they have basically told is that if the goods are transported outside India, right? They just clarified this, that if the goods are transported outside India, understand that the GTA, for example, let's say, forget about GTA, let's say I'm talking about an airline company. Okay. So transportation of goods service है, right? So in that case, understand, for example, there is location of supplier. So let's say the airline company, my dear friends, is registered in Maharashtra. The place of supply, my dear friends, okay, is where? Tell me. Outside India. That is the destination of goods, right? So from Mumbai to, let's say, for example, I've sent the goods to China. So place of supply will be China. And let's say the location of recipient, okay, the location of recipient, okay, basically this is, let's say, some airline company, and since I have paid the freight, I am the recipient. The government says that, listen, one place is when the supplier is in India and place of supply is outside India. In that case, it's a classic example of interstate supply. Okay, and which is why, okay, very simple. It will be an interstate supply, and recipient specifically will get the ITC. Okay, just write down recipient will get the ITC. Even if the place of supply is outside India. Now, ideally, in this case, it doesn't happen, but they have specifically allowed that in this case, okay, understand that though the place of supply here is not Maharashtra, understand, it is not Maharashtra, it is China, right? But government said in this case it will be allowed, don't worry, recipient will be allowed ITC. Even if the place of supply is outside India, that is China. Is that very clear? Correct. ठीक. तो ये चीज याद रखना. I hope this is very clear, my dear friends. Okay. That though recipient's location is outside, understand ITC generally, when does the recipient get ITC? Recipient gets ITC only when the place of supply is in a state. Now, recipient is in which state? Maharashtra. Is place of supply in Maharashtra? No, it is in China. But government is still told that you will get the ITC. Don't worry. Okay, you deserve it. Okay? That's it. But initially that was not available, but now it has been made available so that it does not become a part of recipient's cost. Okay? Note, satellite launching service is covered under transportation of goods service, and hence place of supply is either under section 12.8 or 12 or 13.9. ठीक है, 12.8 or 13. Perfect. Next is, my dear friends, 12.9, transportation of passenger service. Again, if it is B2B, location of recipient. If it is B2C, where the passenger embarks his journey. For example, if he's going from Mumbai to, let's say, for example, Agra, then place of supply will be Mumbai, where he actually embarks his journey. Right? Correct. So that is the case. But understand, when it comes to a right to passage for future use, so that means they're talking about the monthly or yearly pass that you basically get issued from IRCTC. Government says in that case recipient. So in case it is B2B, it is location of recipient. In case it is B2C, then in that case, place of supply will be determined under 12.2. So if the location of recipient is known, location of recipient. If it liar. Okay, next is, okay, 12 subsection 3. Services in relation to mall property. Place of a mall property. Simple. But understand, if it is outside India, location of recipient. Next, 12 subsection 4. Restaurant, cafe, fitness, beauty parlor. That place where the service is actually performed. That place where the service is actually performed. Okay. Next is, my dear friends, so for example, if you are a restaurant in, let's say, Juhu Shivsagar, place of supply is Juhu. If you are a Taj in, let's say, for example, Churchgate, Mumbai, Fort, the place of supply will be Fort area. Same case with catering, fitness, and beauty parlor. Take it. Next is 12 subsection 6, event related. So in case you are actually getting admitted to an event, so you are actually going there to entertain yourself, not to perform but to entertain. Then in that case, again, it is a place of supply where the event is actually held or amused. Okay, very simple. Okay. Next is, my dear friends, 12 subsection 10, services on board a conveyance. So, for example, from Mumbai to Delhi, like, I am taking service by the way of entertainment. They're actually renting me some video game, okay, or they're renting me some, for example, uh, they're renting me some video game, or for example, some music instrument, and they're taking a charge of it. Simple. In that case, first scheduled point of departure. So if your flight actually goes from Singapore, Mumbai, Delhi, first scheduled departure point is Singapore. Place of supply will be Singapore. Next is banking and broking company. In that case, understand, if the address of the recipient is known, why will that be known? Because you understand, you have the detail of that recipient, as that recipient is an account holder of that bank. Then location of recipient will be place of supply. If not, then location of supplier will be the place of supply. ठीक है. 12 subsection 3 क्या है, my dear friends? Very simple. Insurance service. B2B, location of recipient. B2C, if address is known, location of recipient. Okay, very simple. And there is no possibility of you not knowing the address, because he will give you all the details possible so that the claim coverage can be easily recovered. Okay, that's it, my dear friends. So that is section 12:30. Then we have 12:12, 12:40, sorry, 12:11, 12:40, and then section 15. And then, my dear friends, section 13 and 14. Okay, but before we go ahead, my dear friends, we will take a quick break. Okay, it's 8:30. Let's be back by 8:45. And from 8:45 to 9:30, let's remaining complete the remaining pending cases, sections, and let's wrap up IGST. Hope you six people who are watching here are getting what I'm saying, and I'm getting what I'm saying. Say yes, sir, in the comment section, and I'll believe you all. Can you all hear me? Okay. Okay, now we have 12 subsection 11, telecommunication service. In that case, my dear friends, understand. Okay, we have a situation. Okay, that is fixed line of business, lease circuits, internet lease circuits, cable connection, and dish antenna. And the place of supply will be place where such equipment is installed. Place where such equipment is installed. So wherever you are installing this, fixed line or dish antenna, that is the place of supply. Very simple. Okay. Second is postpaid mobile and internet service. Place of supply is very simple. Billing address of the recipient. Correct. It's the billing address of the recipient. Are you getting it? Yes. Okay, so for example, I am taking the subscription of Vodafone, right? And that is a postpaid subscription. In that case, the billing address of my home, okay, will be the place of supply. Correct? Second ho gaya. Third is prepaid mobile internet service and direct to home television service through selling agent, reseller, and distributor. In that case, it will be the address of such agent, reseller, or distributor, right? So I'll tell you how does this work. So this works very simply. So let's say in this case, let's say for example, Airtel company, okay, sells it to the reseller or the distributor, and it is the reseller and the distributor who in turn sells it to the customer, the final customer, right? Now understand, when Airtel is actually selling the voucher to the reseller, right? In that case, right? In that case, understand. Okay, it's very simple to comprehend that whatever is the billing address of a reseller will be the place of supply. But when it comes from reseller to final customer, then understand it is the final customer, okay, iska place of business, place of supply, okay, will be the place of business. Very simple. Okay. I'm so sorry. When it comes to, I'm so sorry. When it comes to reseller selling that voucher to final customer, then in that case, the place of supply here will be the place where the voucher is actually sold. Right, that place where the voucher is actually sold, and it will be generally in the shop of the reseller. Is that very clear, my dear friends? Yes. Okay. So that's it. Okay. So here, as I said, Airtel to Airtel distributor, and here, as I said, Airtel distributor to final subscriber. Okay. And the last is, my dear friends, whenever the recharge is actually done via the means of internet, in that case, my dear friends, please try and understand the place of supply will be location of a recipient. Right. Next is 12 subsection 14. 12 subsection 14 क्या है? If the ad is in newspaper and publication, in that case, understand firstly, when it comes to 12 subsection 14, where basically you are giving service. Okay. So there is advertisement service to CG, SG, UT, LA. So whenever any service is given to them, it is as per the prescribed rules, and that for that prescribed rules, understand, okay, all you have to refer is this. Simple. Generally such kind of questions are not asked in the exam, but still I'll explain. Okay, advertisement in newspaper and publications, the amount payable for publishing an advertisement in all such editions, right? Second is advertisement through printed material like pamphlets, amount payable for distribution of specific number of such material in each state. So, for example, if there are, so if the entire assignment, okay. So in this case, so for example, if the budget is 1 lakh rupees and there are like, for example, 1,000 pamphlets in, let's say, 10 states, okay, 1,000 in Maharashtra, 1,000 in Gujarat, that's how it is. Then the ratio will be 1 is to 1 is to 1 is to 1 is to 1. Okay, so 1 by 10, 1 by 10, 1 by 10, 1 by 10. So 10%, 10%, 10% will be allocated to each state, right? Hoardings, then the hoardings, the number of hoardings located in each state. Advertisement on trains, then the length of track in each state. So, for example, if it's from Maharashtra to, let's say, Gujarat, and let's say the length of the track is, let's say, for example, I don't know, 1,000 meters or something like that, then you have to see how much length actually falls in which state. Uh, Advertisement on the back of utility of bills of oils and gas companies. So amount payable for the advertisement on bills pertaining to having billing address in each state. So if there are like 1,000 people in Maharashtra and 1,000 people in Gujarat, so accordingly the ratio will be that way. Number of tickets when it comes to advertisement on railway stations. So number of railway stations in each state. So for example, if there are ads to be run for central government or state government, okay, on the railway station. So for example, they choose Maharashtra and Gujarat. In that case, 10 stations are in Maharashtra and 10 stations are in Gujarat. Then in that case, obviously, my dear friends, I hope you understand that it will be 50-50%. Advertisement on televisions, number of viewers on the channel, advertisement in cinema halls, amount payable to cinema halls or screens in multiplexes. advertisement on internet, number of internet subscribers, and advertisement through SMS, number of telecom subscribers in each state. Okay, I feel it's very simple. Okay, but still less chances of it being coming actually, right? Section 15 actually talks about, okay, supplier who is in India, by the way, supplier who is in India, by the way, and is supplying goods to tourists. And which goods is he supplying? IG. And is supplying goods to tourists, and which goods is he supplying? Any goods for that matter, but that is actually considered as IGST. And how is it IGST? It will fall in that residual case of section 7. And the recipient who will actually pay IGST from his pocket in that case will get the ITC for the same. Okay, perfect. But understand the ITC that he will get, actually, I will say that the input tax that he actually lands up paying, he will get the refund of the same. And understand one thing very, very, very clearly. Okay, that he will get the refund. That's absolutely perfect. But it will happen only if he takes the goods along with him outside India. If he takes the goods along with him outside India, only then in that case he will get the refund. Okay, it should not be consumed in India. If it's consumed in India, then it will not be applicable. Also, the services that he consumes in India, not applicable. Okay. Acha. Before we go ahead with section 13, I would actually like to take you to two important definitions. One is import of service and third is import of goods. Okay, one is import of, I'm so sorry, one is import of service and the other is export of service. Import of service, export of service. So import of service is basically where location is outside India, but place of supply is in India and location of recipient is also in India. That is import of service. But when it comes to export of service, understand the location of supplier is in India. Okay, the location of recipient is outside India. The place of supply is outside India, and payment is to be received in foreign exchange. Or when it comes to RBI, okay, RBI can also permit amount in rupees. Okay, if they allow it, then even that satisfies the definition of export of service. Generally, it is in foreign exchange, but if you have the permission of RBI that though the money is in rupees, especially from countries like Nepal, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Bhutan, then in that case, again, it will be considered as export. Okay, but RBI permission is required. Achha, also understand that it's very important to understand that uh, both are not distinct persons. Okay, the supplier and the recipient are actually not distinct persons, right? And understand, distinct person is when I have my own branch. But when I have my own holding company or subsidiary company, they are not distinct persons. They are a related person. And the condition out here is that they should not be distinct persons. They can be related person. And holding company is not a distinct person. It is related person. Okay. And yeah, this is definitely qualifying as export of service because they are different people. Okay. And here, just make a small correction out here. Payment to be received in Forex. Okay. Or rupees if permitted by RBI. Right. Or rupees if permitted by RBI. Okay. Very simple. ठीक है. Correct. And both are not distinct person. And after that distinct person, you can write here under explanation to section 8. वहां पे किया ना हम लोगों ने distinct person define. That is what they are talking about. Okay. Perfect. I feel that is absolutely fine. So supplier should be in India, place of supply outside India, recipient should be outside India, amount should be in foreign exchange, and if permitted by RBI, it can be in INR. And the last condition, import cannot be distinct person. So the transaction is happening between branches. Understand. It is absolutely not export of service. Right. Later you will actually understand if that happens, that is considered as an exempt supply. because government did not want to allow ITC for the same. Okay, perfect. Next, my dear friends. Okay, now we are basically heading to section 13, and then we are supposed to do section 14, and then we are done. We are done with IGST, my dear friends. Let's do it. Section 13 to very similar to section 12 to general provision, and in this case, clearly, my dear friends. Okay, the place of supply is location of recipient, and understand if the location of recipient is not available, the place of supply. Okay, tantamounts to location of supply. Okay, so understand very clearly, my dear friends. Okay, place of supply is clearly location of recipient, but understand if location of recipient is not available, place of supply will be location of supply. Okay. Next is, my dear friends, very simple. 13 subsection 2. When I say 13 subsection 2, all services other than the one covered under 13.3 to 13.14, 13.3 to 13.13, which is the default rule, okay, will be covered under these सेक्शन 13 सबसेक्शन 2. ओके, सो 13.2 में एक सेकंड पहले तो आवाज आ रहा ना भाई? Number of viewers on the channel. Okay, so when it comes to 13 subsection 2, my dear friends, there are two clarifications. Frankly, this cargo handling services. Okay, so government has specifically told cargo handling services nothing doing 12 subsection 2, nothing related to transportation of goods service. So it will fall under 13.2 only, or neither it is with respect to 13.3 where you're taking where you are actually rendering services in relation to goods. Okay, it's a simple 12.2 case or 13.2 case, wherever it may fall, depending on where the supplier and the recipient's location is. Next is composite supply of software development and testing of software. So understand in this case, what generally happens is that I'll tell you. So the case is basically, okay, where there is a composite supply of software development service and testing of software service, right? So in this case, what happens is that you are supposed to make a software, right? And that software is supposed to be working in a particular hardware. Only if that works, does that make sense? Is that product going to be valid, and is that product going to actually be passing the test of the research and development service that you are doing? Okay, let me get back to you on this. Let me get back to you on this. Okay. Okay, next is, my dear friends, 13 subsection 3, performance based services. When I talk about performance based services, my dear friends, the concept is very simple. In case of performance based services, right, the performance is either where the goods are physically present or where the individual is physically present, right? So when I talk about goods, okay, in this case, understand that the service on goods requires physical presence of that goods with the supplier so that the supplier can actually treat the goods, right? Something like a job work service. So if I am doing a car repairing service, I need the car. If I am doing mobile repairing service, I need the mobile, right? So any service that is on the goods, the physical presence is required, and in that case, the place of supply will be that place where the service is actually performed, right? Second is services supplied in respect of goods that are temporarily imported into India for repairs or any other treatment or any other process without being put to use. So understand what is happening here. Services supplied in respect of goods that are temporarily imported into India. So goods are temporarily imported into India. Why? Because understand, for example, you are making watches. Now you have exported watch, correct? And you had given, let's say, 1 year guarantee, warranty, whatever. Now after 1 year, that watch stopped working. Now in that case, understand, when that watch is coming back to India, when that watch is coming back to India, okay, you are importing it, right? You are importing it so that you can repair it and you can send it back to your client. Now understand, in that case, it's very important to understand that what government decided is that, listen, location of supplier, let's say Maharashtra is where it comes back. Now place of supply, even if that happens to be Maharashtra, location of recipient is, let's say, in USA. What will happen is that I will have to raise him an invoice and I will have to charge him CGST and SGST because LOS and POS is in Maharashtra only. Now, if you do that, what will happen is that you are stopping this service from becoming an export of services and thereby, okay, not making it a zero rated supply, right? The government said, okay, let's do one thing. Let's make sure that this proviso takes this situation out of 13.3 and puts this situation in the kitty of 13.2. And 13.2 says, when you know the location of the recipient, place of supply will be location of recipient, and that will be USA. Now it becomes export of service because understand, you're definitely receiving the consideration in forex, and at the same time you're not distinct person, obviously. So that qualifies it as export of service, and that makes it a zero rated supply on which GSTs are charged. Is that very clear? Correct. Next is services supplied in respect of goods that are provided from a remote location by electronic means. So here basically understand, through electronic means, through remote access, I'm actually treating someone from sitting in USA, I'm treating someone's server or someone's software problem in, let's say, Mumbai. Okay. Understand, in that case, the place of supply, it'll be very difficult to determine where the service is performed, right? Where is it performed? In US, in Mumbai, in, let's say, in some air, where? So government said that place where the goods, okay, are actually situated. So let's say the server was located in Mumbai, place of supply will be Mumbai. Okay. Next is individual. Now understand, if this individual is giving service to another individual, okay, so it's very important that the person on whom the service is being performed is physically present, right, with the supplier. For example, photography service, classroom teaching, okay, for example, healthcare service where the doctor is treating the patient. All these services require the proximity of the recipient with the supplier. Otherwise, the services cannot be given. In this case, my dear friends, the place of supply will be the place where the service is actually performed. Right, so it can be hospital, it can be a salon, it can't be that place where the photography is happening, it can be that classroom, whatever the case may be. Okay. Next is, my dear friends, 13.4. Again, it is very simple. It is supply of service directly on a mall property. It includes a real estate agent, experts, renting, architect, and interior designing service. Okay, and here obviously the place of supply, my dear friends, happens to be place of immobile property located. So wherever is the place of immobile property located will be the place of supply, as you all know. You've already done that in 12.3. Okay, here understand, the services which occurred in 12, if I'm not wrong, 4 and 12.7 are both merged here. Basically, services by the way of organizing an event and getting an admission to event. Both of those cases, okay, understand, in that case, the place of supply will be that place where the event is actually held. Okay. Acha. Understand, with the supply of service under 13.3, 13.4, 13.5, okay, is in multiple taxable territory, then the place of supply will be the taxable territory, right? And the entire contract will be in taxable territory. For example, the concept is simple. Let's say understand that there is a supplier, there is a recipient, Okay, supplier is giving, let's say, renting of a mall property service, right? Now, supplier is, let's say, in uh, US, recipient is in Maharashtra, and the mall property is located one in Maharashtra and the other in, let's say, Sydney, right? Government says, okay, let's say if this entire service is worth rupees 10 crores, government says in that case, okay, the entire service, okay, though here actually service worth rupees 6 crore is given and here 4 crores, government says nothing doing, the entire service will be considered as it is given in Maharashtra, that is the taxable territory. Is that very clear, my dear friends? Yes, sir. Okay. So, any service which is there in 13.3, 13.4, 13.5, where one of them, okay, one of them happens to be in taxable territory, okay, then in that case, okay, understand the entire service will be considered in taxable territory. Achha, 13.7 is supply of service under 13.3, 13.4, 13.5, more than one state. Follow the rules. Okay. 13.8, supply by the way of bank and BFCs to account holders. Intermediary services like broker, except real estate agent because he's covered above. Hiring all means of transport other than vessel or aircraft, including yacht up to 1 month. Okay. In that case, place of supply will be location of supplier. The transportation of goods service other than mail and courier, the place of supply will be the place of destination of goods, right? Passenger transportation service, place where passenger embarks for continuous journey, right? Onboarding supply of services, first scheduled point of departure of conveyance. Got it? Yes. So this is actually the same. This is the same. This is not same because there it was in case of 12.8 it was that place where, so if it's B2C it's a location of the recipient, if it is B2C it is that place where the goods are handed over to the transporter. Here it is destination of goods, understand? Okay. 13 subsection 12, my dear friends, OIDAR services, very important, understand. In this case OIDAR services, as you rightly know, okay, are those services like cloud computing, advertisement on internet, okay, access to music, movies, ebooks, etc. Now, person receiving such service, okay, that is the location of recipient will be the place of supply. Now, understand that person receiving such service shall be deemed to be located in taxable territory if any of the two non-contradictory conditions are satisfied. That means if amongst these any of the two conditions are satisfied, then definitely in that case uh, recipient has given service in taxable territory. Let's say the address of the recipient through internet is happens to be in taxable territory. Let's say the billing address of recipient happens to be in taxable territory. The card used by recipient for payment has been issued in taxable territory. The bank account of recipient is maintained in taxable territory. The fixed landline through which service is received is in taxable territory. The country code of SIM is in taxable territory. The IP address of device used by recipient is in taxable territory. Fair enough? Yes. Okay. Now, my dear friends, understand. If the supplier is in New York, recipient is in Mumbai. If supplier is in New York, recipient is in Mumbai. Okay. And supplier is giving OIDAR service to the recipient. Okay. Supplier is giving OIDAR service to the recipient. Now, understand in this case, okay, it's very simple that the supplier is supplying online gaming services, right? Correct. Understand one thing that firstly, check, is it import of service? Yes, it is import of service. How? Supplier is outside India, recipient is in India, place of supply is in India. And how is place of supply in India? Because we just, okay, so 13.12, correct? Yes. Now, if the recipient happens to be a non-taxable online recipient who is basically an unregistered person, right? then in that case, government says that recipient cannot pay tax here as per RC. We cannot ask him to pay tax. So, which is why supplier has been specifically told under section 24 of CGST Act to take compulsory registration, and section 14 has specifically put charge on supplier to pay tax. So just like 9395, 919395, these are the sections that put charge on a particular person to pay tax. So in 91 supplier, 93 recipient, 95 ECO. Okay. So all these persons are given the charge to pay tax, and all of them, especially 9395, have been covered under 24. And here, okay, since the charge is given by section 14 on the supplier who is outside India, giving service to non-taxable online recipient in India, that supplier is given the charge to pay tax as per 14. So as per 14, supplier is supposed to pay tax. And as per section 24, he is supposed to have compulsory registration. And how will it be paid? If physical presence is in India, supplier. If not, representative. If that is also not there, person appointed by OIDAR supplier. Very simple. Okay. Next is supplier, my dear friends. Okay. Okay. When it comes to 5 subsection 3, I'm trying to merge and do it here only. So supplier again is outside India. A recipient happens to be in India, registered person in Bangalore in India, right? But he is not a non-taxable online recipient. He's a legit registered person in Bangalore who is other than non-taxable online recipient, right? In this case, government says that since he's already registered, RC de Dubai, give him RC. He can handle it because clearly this is what import of service. But you can trust him and you can easily trust them for compliances. They are a big company. RCM के तहत हो जाएगा. Simple. Yes. Okay. And the last is 13 subsection 3 that talks about two services. One is the R&D services with respect to pharmaceutical sector. Okay. And second is where a supplier provides maintenance, repairs, overall service in respect of ship vessel to Indian shipping company. Right. In this case, the place of supply specifically have they mentioned is location of recipient. Correct? Yes. That's where, my dear friends, we are done. We are done. We are done, my dear friends, with the IGST Act. Right? I hope you understand and I hope you remember this very well because I've tried to help you understand the logic behind each and every service. Got it? Each and every service. So here I'll tell you, if you check these services, these are generally B2B services which are given as a large scale to the recipient. And these services, if you will check, you will realize that these services are generally in consumption nature. For example, I'm consuming entertainment by going to a circus, by going to a stand-up comedy. I'm consuming food in restaurant or catering or fitness or beauty, right? So government has specifically not done bifurcations of B2B, B2C there because I'm talking about these services, right? Right, from 12.3 to 12.30. I'm talking about them because they are of a consumption nature, and especially with 12.3, since these services in relation to immovable property, which majorly was construction works contract service. In that case, understand it is any which ways they are not going to get any ITC on that because 17.5 में block करके रखा उसको. In 17.5 it is blocked. So he's not going to get ITC. So there is no point shifting the place of supply from the location of immovable property to that place where the recipient is located, right? And which is why, my dear friends, in most of these cases, understand there is a consumption pattern that is seen, and government understands that this will generally be not used in the course of business, and which is why there is just one place of supply there instead of two bifurcations in the previous case. Okay? That's it. I hope you all understood the entire crux of IGST, and I hope that made sense, right? That's it, my dear friends. We will wrap up IGST here. Uh, if you understand Hindi, I've actually posted a very amazing motivational video for you guys today. Go check it out. Like, comment if you like it, and please comment on this video too if you like it, guys. Shiva, if you really like it, please do this. Sir, for Inter students, they can give only. Okay. So Shiva, please do that. MS, please do that. Avni, Smith, please do that, guys. Okay, it means the world to me, guys. Okay, and thanks a lot for doing that for so long. But please continue doing. Okay. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a nice day. Good night.